Men need to understand this is what we act on. It's primal. It's on a DNA level. We are ultimately after good breeding stock. So you need to have, and this is a woman's display of good breeding stock, good genes, is by having a great physique, a beautiful face. She's youthful, she's young, she's within that peak fertility window.
This week on the Shame Free Life podcast radio show, we're going to have an up-close personal conversation for all of the men, all of the brothers. But ladies, you are definitely invited into the Shame Free Life discussion concerning looking for the woman that does not exist.
Today is about the power of you.
We can be whatever we dream.
You're locked into another episode of 15 Minutes of Shame. Each week, we'll help you rebuild your life one brick at a time by addressing real-life issues from a practical and biblical perspective.
I had to believe in myself like never before.
This is the Shame-Free Radio Show.
Finding a solution to become the greatest.
And now your host, minister, author, grief and trauma support specialist, Dr. Ronald Zion Roseboro.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it.
Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are from coast to coast and from around the globe. You are locked inside of another installment live inside the Shame Free Life podcast radio show. I am your host, Ronald Zion, and it's a blessing to be back with you yet once again. And as we heard the clip from the Pearly Things podcast, a discussion amongst men, quote unquote, concerning women and the attraction to women and the most important things as it relates to women. Well, that is the subject on my podcast that we're going to dive into. But before we do, let's take two quick commercial breaks and we will return to the subject, looking for the woman that does not exist. Have you considered continuing your education? Or do you find yourself, like so many, sidetracked by life, fear, or maybe even excuses? Well, I've come to tell you that there is no perfect time than right now. Time is ticking away. So get your degree today. Rehoboth International Bible College is an accredited institution designed to meet your higher biblical education needs. Simply go to RehobothInternationalBibleCollege.com or call 866-235-0812 extension 0. You are an investment, and it is past time for you to reap the dividends. Rehoboth International Bible College. Have you ever felt alone and life is out of control? Perhaps like a sailboat at sea in the midst of a tsunami. Well, you're not alone. Here at the Shame Free Life, LLC, we offer services in trauma recovery, crisis intervention, and empowerment coaching. We operate in integrity, confidentiality, empathy with coaching ethics. Contact us at theshamefreelife.com or email us at contact@theshamefreelife.com. You may not be responsible for your injury, but you are responsible for your healing. Let us help you rebuild your life one brick at a time, because your life begins when you say so. And we are back looking for the woman that does not exist. You know, in society, we are surrounded by so many voices, so many podcasts. Of course, I am one. not to throw shade on podcasts because I have my own. However, there are so many sources of information, and we have got to get to a place of emotional intelligence to be able to sift out the rubbish, the trash, the unhealthy verbiage that we get on a daily basis, be it social media, media in general, family, friends, frenemies, even institutions of faith, churches, etc., to be able to get down to the common denominator, especially when it comes to relationships. Now, we're going to dive real deep because I think that this is a subject that must be tackled because we hear so much. And as far as men, we're given this blueprint of what to look for in a woman without receiving a blueprint concerning what does it mean to become a man.
God today.
So we're on this quest to find the perfect woman, quote, in quotations, which no man has ever met, because there's not one perfect person that is on the planet out of almost 8 billion people. We are all flawed. We are all imperfect. And so to find this person, this woman, it's a never-ending cycle. It's a never-ending quest. It's a never-ending thirst that we will have because it's unquenchable. And this is given to us by mainstream society, as you heard in the opening statement of the podcast, that we have this mindset of looking for this perfect person, but everything that was named, or every attribute and characteristic that was named by the guy in that particular interview, it was all external. Not one internal component, characteristic, or qualification was named, because we are led by what we see on the outside as opposed to the substance and the longevity that is on the inside of a person. So we have to ask ourselves as men, who gave us this blueprint concerning what to look for in the perfect woman? Now, this is not to say that you shouldn't have your preference as far as what you are attracted to outwardly, because that's foolish in and of itself to say that we're not attracted by what we see. Of course, you have eyes, and for that very reason to see. But I'm talking about not just the eyes that you have in your head, but I'm talking about the eyes of the soul, of the spirit. But when you are spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically blind, then the only sight that you have going for you, the only sight that you can depend on, is what you can visually see, which is outwardly, because you are blind inwardly. So we have to ask ourselves, who gave us this blueprint? Who qualified these individuals to tell us what is best for us when oftentimes we don't even know ourselves? So we put this unwanted pressure on ourselves to find the perfect woman. And again, there is no perfect woman, there is no perfect man, there is no perfect system, there is no perfect economy. There is nothing that is perfect except for one, and that is the Most High God. So we put this pressure on ourselves, and we put the pressure on the woman to be something that is not in her to be, which is perfect, just as well as it is not in us to be perfect, nor can we be. Because if I did meet the perfect woman, if she really existed, then I would screw up her life because I am imperfect, and vice versa. So we have this this image in our mind that's been perpetrated, and the flames have been fanned by society of this perfect woman, how she looked and how she shaped, and a lot of it is due to our own inner issues as men. It's due to our own inner imperfections. It's due to our own insecurity concerning masculinity. And so when we come or arrive to the occasion of understanding and embracing what manhood truly is, as opposed to what has been presented to us, what many of us have represented erroneously, then when we embrace masculinity, I mean true masculinity, then and only then can we look for someone outside of ourselves to complement what we have already come in contact with and that we have truly embraced. That my masculinity has nothing to do with what's between my legs. My masculinity has very little to do what is in my bank account or in my wallet. My masculinity has nothing to do with the car that I drive, the zip code that I live in, the tax bracket that I have, all of the externalities which comes into play. But those are just fruit that's connected to a tree. But the fruit dies if there's no root to the tree. The fruits are the trinkets, the tokens, the symbols of status as it relates to the tree or manhood. But manhood, it is directly connected to the root, which is the essence of who you truly are. Your identity. So we embark upon this journey of looking for the perfect woman to validate us, to affirm who we are. And a lot of this is due to rejection issues, abandonment issues, questioning our own masculinity. And so, therefore, I need someone outside of me to validate me as a man because I truly don't believe it myself. And so, since I wrestle with my own understanding of what manhood truly is, because I haven't really embraced it or I haven't come in contact with it, because the only blueprints that I have seen of being a man is the one who drives the power car, who works the power job, and he gets any and everything that he wants. Or I grew up in a home of a MIA father. Or I grew up in a home of a father or a father figure who was a POW. He was a prisoner of war. He was a prisoner to his addictions. He was a prisoner to his anger, his narcissism, sociopathic behavior. He was a prisoner to abuse. And by being unhealed, he abused everyone within reach. So that's my version of manhood. So I am looking for someone to make me feel good about myself, to complete me. I am looking for someone that looks so amazing on my arm that now I can believe inwardly that I am a man, that I am the man. But those things must happen in our own inner self, not anything outward. But this society has sold us a lie, have sold us down the river and having us chase things, chase people, chasing relationships, in and out of relationships, but still unhappy, still unfulfilled, and behind closed doors, still lonely. And so let's talk about that. There are a lot of men that have not only insecure issues when it comes to masculinity, but commitment issues when it comes to a woman. And let's talk about that because that's real. You know, a woman, she can get hurt by a man time and time again, and she somewhat bounces back the resilience that's on the inside of her, and she gives love another try. She moves forward because, hey, listen, this happened to me. Let me fall back and let me check me. Or let me fall back and go through let me reach out to a therapist or a life coach. Let me kind of work through some things. But as men, when we go through a particular heartbreak experience, it takes a minute for us to bounce back. And in many instances, a lifetime to truly trust again. So the commitment issues that's rooted in trust issues begin to surface. So we go on this quest in looking for this perfect woman to now undo what this other woman did to us so that it would justify being in a relationship. But until I find her, then I'll go through, 5 women, 10, 15, 20, 50 women to try to find this one woman. She exists, but only in my head. She does exist. She doesn't exist in your local church or faith-based organization. She doesn't exist on your job. She doesn't exist in the bar, in the club. She doesn't exist at the party, in the grocery store, in the library. She only exists in our mind, in our head. And so we're on the quest to try to pull this woman, this fictitious woman, out of our brain and bring her into real time, but she doesn't exist. And so the commitment issues in not wanting to commit out of fear of getting hurt again. Well, Yeshua said from scripture that in this world you're going to have tribulations, but be of good cheer. I have overcome them. In the book of Job, it says that a man is born of a woman and is of a few days, but full of trouble. So adversity, hardships, trouble, heartbreaks, setbacks are going to happen. It is a major component of life. It's not if, but when. But when we live our lives in that particular place of past hurt and brokenness and regret, it makes it even more appetizing and appealing to form and fashion this woman in our head of being the total opposite of everything, all of the crap that we have gone through. And so we waste years, we waste time, waste resources on this quest to find this fictitious woman that only exists in our head. And so let's talk about how we can graduate beyond looking for the woman who doesn't exist. And we're seeing in real time on social media, all forms of media, you know, you're seeing it with your friends, hopefully not. You're seeing it with so many people concerning, you know, trying to be happy, want to be happy. I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, instead of looking inward. And when we look inward, that's when things begin to unfold and unravel. When we look inward for the answers, get into that quiet place and quiet space, alone with ourselves and alone with the Most High God who made us, healing begins to take place. So the heavy burdens that we carry from our youth, our youthhood to our adulthood, we begin to unravel, and we begin to now take those weights off of ourselves so that we can become a much better version of ourselves. So when we talk about how to graduate again beyond looking for the woman who does not exist, number one, in my humble opinion, we need to recognize our own imperfections. We need to recognize the reality that we are imperfect. And even if we begin to take a stroll down memory lane of, you know, well, I was with this one and she played me for my money. I was in a relationship with this other woman and she cheated on me. I was in a relationship with my wife and she did this. Okay, well, in all of those situations may be factual, but we must get down to the common denominator. We were in those relationships for a reason. Why? Oftentimes by what we saw with our eyes, our outward vision, instead of our inner vision that is attached to the inner man, which is the spirit of the man. You know, there's a scripture that says the spirit of the man is a candle of the Lord, showing or amplifying the inward parts of our soul. So oftentimes we connect with people because there is a commonality. We choose from the place where we are, whether it's a place of healing or a place of brokenness. And now keeping in mind that there are no perfect people, but we choose people based on our own inner resources and skill sets, or lack thereof. So to overcome this quest of looking for the perfect woman that does not exist, we have to come to terms with that we are imperfect ourselves. And regardless of the woman and sisters listening, or the man that you meet, we are all going to come with imperfections. That is guaranteed. The question is, the imperfections, can I deal with them? Can I deal with that? Because that will determine a lot. That would answer a lot of questions out the gate. Can I deal with this? Can I deal with that? Yeah, you know what? I can deal with this. But that right there, I don't know. If there's a question mark, that question mark should be followed behind a pause. Let me pause. Let me think about this. So recognize our own imperfections. Number two, how to graduate beyond looking for the perfect woman that does not exist. face off with our fears. It is time for us to face off with our fears. What are you afraid of today? Oh, I'm not afraid of nothing. I mean, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. But again, I ask the question, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of getting hurt? Are you afraid of being vulnerable? Are you afraid of being transparent and honest? Are you afraid of commitment? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of success? Are you afraid of failure? We need to face off with the reality of our fears, not being ashamed of the fears, but to acknowledge that the fear or fears exist. But just because you exist, that doesn't mean that I have to accept the reality of you existing to rule my life or to reign over my life. I acknowledge you, but I have come here to confront you. And oftentimes, if we can keep it 100, we do anything and everything than facing off with our fears. We become busy doing all kinds of stuff that's counterproductive. We do any and everything possible other than confronting the fears, mastering the mirror, to get down to the common denominator of the driving force that have us driving ourselves to look for something that doesn't exist, but it's connected to something that does exist that we will not confront, and that is our fears.
God, today.
Facing off with our fears. Number 2, we need to embrace our identity and purpose as men. Embracing our identity and purpose. You know, we live in a society where we don't know who the hell we are. I mean, we're going after so many identities, and there's so many voices around us. Hey, listen, I need to teach you 5 ways to secure the bag. 5 ways to be a better woman, 10 ways to be a better man. You need to do this. You need to do that. I can teach you how to make 6 figures in just 12 months. Hey, just follow me at 1-800-442-TELL-A-LIE. I mean, we don't know who we are. And so we're grasping after so many identities that are false identities that have nothing to do with us because it's not connected to the purpose. When we embrace our identity and our purpose, then not only do you know who you are and whose you are, but you know why you are on this planet right here, right now. And the decision making that comes out of that, the choices that are spawned from that, it matches our identity and our purpose. Anything or anyone that is not complementary to the identity and the purpose is off the table. Regardless of how you look, regardless of how fine your shape is, regardless of what you got going for you, regardless of how you walk, how you talk, how sexy you are, that all of that is not complementary to my identity and my purpose. If it is, hey, listen, let's talk. If it's not, my identity and my purpose is more valuable than what you are presenting. So again, one of the reasons why we cannot graduate beyond the myth of finding this perfect woman who doesn't exist is because we will not embrace the reality of our identity and our purpose, because we're too busy trying to become something that we're not, while forfeiting who we truly are to get something that complements not our real self, but our fake
God
self.
today.
Complementing our fake self, the phony part of us, the counterfeit part of us, the part of us that everybody seems to love, but that's not who you truly are. And so this is very important. Identity and purpose is who you are. Out of all of the things that's in your wallet right now, your money that's in your wallet, your credit card, your debit cards, yes, that's important, no doubt. But I'll tell you something that is even more important. Your driver's license or your state issue ID, your military ID. Because you can lose your money and get it back again. You can lose your credit and debit card, and you can call and have the accounts frozen or just cancel them, and they will reissue you cards, replacement cards. But when you lose your ID, your driver's license that has your picture on it and pertinent information, someone can take that driver's license and do damage to your whole world by way of identity theft. Who has stolen your identity? Are you a victim of identity theft? I know I have been. Not wanting to embrace who I truly am as a man. Not wanting to embrace that I'm called by the Most High God to be a mouthpiece for Him, to be an instrument in His hand, to institute healing. But because that seemed to be something that, hey, listen, I mean, that seems to be, kind of boring, but I'd rather be something else. I'd rather be a rapper. I'd rather be, try to get into the modeling industry. I'd rather be the life of the party, because I didn't know who I was, because who I am was never truly celebrated. It was never enough. It was never cultivated by another man. It was never pushed by another man. It was never irrigated. So therefore, since it wasn't irrigated, it wasn't appreciated, it wasn't celebrated, I said, well, listen, I'll become something else. I'll become someone else. I'll become a fake version of myself. So therefore, it's fitting to try to find fake women. Women that don't exist except for in my head. Because if I find women that have nothing to do with my God-given purpose, then they will keep me in a place of delinquency. And I will pass over time and time again good women concerning morality, good women concerning having their heads on straight, having a direction in life, moving forward with velocity, intention, purpose, and resilience, tenacity. I will look over them. Good women who live a righteous life at the level of their ability. I will step over them to find the ones that were broken, living quote unquote ratchet, all types of emotional issues. And I will connect with them because they were busy like I was busy. They were busy becoming a fake version of themselves as opposed to healing to become a healed and better version of who they truly are, as opposed to who they are attempting to become because of their trauma, because of the abandonment, because of the rejection, because of the abuse. So you have two broken people that's in a broken relationship. Identity and purpose is so important. And number 4, of how to graduate beyond looking for the woman, fellas, that doesn't exist. Silence the voice of society. You've got to shut society's voice down. Duct tape the mouth of society. You know, there's a verse in 1 John 1, 15 and 16. Actually, 1 John 2, 15, 16. 1 John 2, 15, 16. Love not the world, nor the things in the world. For if any man loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world is the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. And so is society driven by the trifold identity of relationships, how we interact with one another, what we are driven by. The lust of the flesh, as you heard in the opening podcast with that interview. The lust of the eyes and the pride of life. You know, it's something about the pride of a man. And as the scripture says, that pride goes before destruction and a haunted spirit before a fall. That pride will keep us from looking at ourselves in the mirror and self-evaluating. Pride will have us believe the lie that I'm good, ain't nothing wrong with me, I'm straight. No, they are the problem. It's pride that will not allow us to get to a place of inner solitude, to be able to roll up our sleeves, put on our hard hat and our tool belt, and begin to go to work on ourselves, as opposed to always participating in the line of blame. Just like Adam. Hey, listen, hey, the Most High, y'all say, listen, what's going on here? Adam, where are you? Did you eat from this tree? Hey, listen, the woman did it. The woman said, hey, listen, hey, the serpent made me. So that we participate in the line of blame, as opposed to get into a place of, hey, listen, I'm going to embrace the mirror. I'm going to shut down society's voice and society saying or pressing upon me what I should have, when society is completely out of control. And unfortunately, we have adopted the same mind as it relates to those who follow Yeshua or the institution of church. You got to have a woman like Juanita Bynum. Boy, you got to have a prayer warrior. You got to have a woman. And there's nothing wrong with having a woman of prayer. I mean, that is golden. That is the Powerball Mega Millions winning ticket. But the unreasonable attributes and qualifications that oftentimes even the church would institute on men. You know, she gotta dress this way. You know, she not saying that she gotta dress like Meg the Stallion. Not saying that she gotta dress like Keke Palmer. I'm not saying that. Dress with decency. Dressing in the sense of inner pride of a woman. But we would institute so much on people that she's got to look this way, she's got to walk this way, she's got to dress this way, she's got to preach this way, she got to pray this way. And we do it too, just like society. But when we know who we are, and when we embrace the reality of our identity that is connected to our destiny, which is our purpose, then our choices as men will become crystal clear. Because I'm no longer now looking for a fake woman to match me, a fake man. I have put in the work to become more healed. And the heal me is the real me. And when I become the real me, now I am looking for the real woman.
God today.
The real woman that does exist to complement the real man that I have become by my own volition and choice. So I hope that this has been a blessing to you today concerning looking for the woman that doesn't exist. And again, to graduate beyond this kind of foolish, nonsensical fantasy so that we can embrace reality, we've got to, number one, recognize our own imperfections. Number two, face off with our own fears. Number three, embrace your identity and your purpose. And number four, silence the voice of society. You can reach us for trauma recovery coaching, one-on-one group sessions, or if you prefer to have an online course that is customized for you. If you've ever had any trauma in your life, and I haven't met not one person that have not had a trauma or have experienced a crisis, you can go to the website, theshamefreelife.com, theshamefreelife.com. And until next time, as I always say, and I will continue to say, that your life, your precious life, your life that is built and that is rooted in the root mechanism of identity and purpose, it begins when you say so.
Thank you for joining us on the Shame Free Life radio show. For 15 minutes of shame, follow us on IG and Twitter at Shame Free Life. For information on promoting your business with us, contact us at theshamefreelife@gmail.com. Until next time, your life begins when you say so.